So how prepared do you think you were for Alabama after hearing all about how they were back?
That's the most prepared we ever been. But what kind of worried me is, okay, we going against these guys, but we don't have our best player on the team. Remember, Percy didn't play.
That's right.
So I'm sitting there like, I'm not nervous, but I'm like, oh, geez, you know how we going to get offense going. Not no defense, we're going to do our thing. You know? But
well, it turned out that Tim Tebow more than had that covered. Do you think that was a Heisman-type moment for him?
Oh, my God, that was definitely a Heisman moment. He played amazing that game. Amazing. That was probably the best I've ever seen him play.
So what do you think when it turned out that he did not win the Heisman?
It was bullshit.
Well, we'll get into that more a little bit. I meant to save that question for later. But anyway, turns out that you guys beat Alabama. There's a big celebration. You're SEC champs for the first time in your career. Turns out, though, you've got another big game coming up. And I think you guys kind of knew that if you beat Alabama, you'd be in the national championship game. So did you more celebrate that you won an SEC championship, or were you more just like, okay, we won, but now we've got an even bigger game coming up ahead?
Well, we took that for everything. Yeah, we celebrated, and cause that's what we talk about. We don't talk about winning the national championship. You know, I mean, that's kind of expected, but the first thing, you know, we mentioned in that locker room is winning the SEC title. And we accomplished that goal, and I mean, it was definitely something to celebrate about.
Well, anyway, the talk after that is once Florida gets in, it's Tim Tebow versus Sam Bradford for the national title. And, you know, we just mentioned that Tim Tebow did not win the Heisman that year. It was Sam Bradford who did it. And, I mean, I kind of see why. Oklahoma was scoring 60 points every time they took the field. And
yeah,
so Bradford...
definitely flying on offense.
Yeah, well, anyway, all we hear about is Oklahoma's offense, Oklahoma's offense, Oklahoma's offense. Well, Florida's got Tebow, so they're going to have offense, but we're going to see a lot of offense in this game. We're going to see a game where each team scores 40-plus or whatever, and meanwhile, you're just sitting there and listening to all this about how Oklahoma's going to light you up. How much does that motivate you?
We laughed at it because we, as a whole, until this day, we still say there's no defense played in that league. So we weren't nervous at all.
Well, then you hear that. Go ahead.
We just had to make sure the offense, you know, was had the same confidence as we did. You know, apparently they did, but you know, we said because we good, we know what we was gonna do.
And then you heard a guy named Dominique Franks, who otherwise would be completely unheard of, who just says something pretty stupid, and that is that Tim Tebow would be the fourth best quarterback in the Big 12. You hear that? What do you think?
What's his name again?
Dominique Franks. But I think you knew that.
Yeah, that's the one Randy shook on the sideline.
Yep. Randy juked him.
When he got hurt.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. But anyway, turns out the game's a defensive struggle because you guys shut down Oklahoma. And Florida's offense struggles a little bit too. But the game turned into a pretty good one. Late in the game, it's 17-14 Florida. And Sam Bradford, the Heisman winner, throws one deep down the middle, and it looks like Joaquin Iglesias has you beat, and he's gotten inside you, and he makes a big catch and falls down, and then you get up with the ball. What happened there?
I think it called the wrong defense too, because they kept tricking us with where they were putting what's his name, Gresham. They put him at a wide receiver, and then we'll put DBs on the field, then they'll move him back into tight end. You know what I'm saying? And it's like a cat and mouse game. I think we ended up calling the wrong defense, but it played out. And you know, I just saw the ball in the air. I remember the ball in the air, and I just put my arms up to catch it. And then Major came and smacked me, and I spun around. So I think that kind of saved the ball.
But I don't get how you came down with it. It looked like Iglesias had you beat for a big gain, and then you just get up with the ball.
Iglesias must don't live weights because I came down with it.
Dude, you're just throwing shade left and right. I love it. Well, anyway, your job is done. You've picked off Bradford. Tebow then leads Florida down the field for the winning touchdown on, of course, the jump pass. And what's it feel like to you when you realize that he has indeed thrown a touchdown?
So, I can't explain it. That sideline was nuts. I'm telling you. Knowing that we won that championship, it was nuts. Oh, my God. Crazy.
So I'm sure that ever since that touchdown pass until about a week later, it was just a blur for you. But from what you do remember, what was it? What was the aftermath like?
Uh, I think I'm gonna let it know, man. But we had fun. Um,
You had fun.
I was only 20, so I couldn't go to too many places. I was only 20 years old, so they wanted me in a lot of places. But
So you're alluding
yeah,
to
fun.
some underage drinking, which is totally legal in my opinion. There should be, but we're gonna skip that part. So when you were with your teammates the next few weeks, what was the conversation like? Was it more about what you just accomplished, or were you thinking more ahead to next year?
No, it was still more like what we just accomplished. Like you don't really start thinking until like it's almost literally a month after that.
So I read Tim Tebow's autobiography, and in it he says that he doesn't really think the 2008 team celebrated long enough, and that there was too much pressure on the 2009 team to just go
Oh
ahead.
my God, it was crazy. Um, we couldn't do anything. It was always a talking about we'll go out there and we'll beat whoever by 21 points. Oh, we didn't beat them by 45 points, so we struggled. Like every time we didn't score 100 points, we were struggling. But yet, we still beating teams by double digits. So I don't know, man. It was tough. Just every week is harder and harder.
Well, I'm not going to go game by game through 2009 because that was essentially the story of every game. But one of the big games of the year was Tennessee because of the trash talking that Lane Kiffin decided to start. I don't know why he did that, but he did. And there's a bit of pressure on you guys to go out there and destroy them. And you don't, but you get the win. So you beat them by 10, and you got the game clinching pick. So how much did it mean to you to essentially seal that game given the hype leading up to it?
All right. After college, I was actually dating a girl who went to UT. So, just showing her that game winning pick every now and then, it's like messing with her.
Dude.
Yeah, I kind of rubbed it in a little bit, but it was crazy. We were actually about to go up like
30 to 6,
10 or
and then
something.
Tebow fumbled.
30
Yeah.
to 6. Yeah, Tebow fumbled. So, I mean, the game wasn't as close as the scoreboard looked.
Yeah, it could have been a repeat of the previous year. You beat Tennessee 30 to 6 the year before. You could have repeated that and maybe a little bit more. But in any case, you get the win, and it's all good. You guys start winning games again, but it's not really quite like the year before. There's, as we've alluded to, there was a bit of struggle in every game. It was, well, you didn't beat LSU by 30 points. You go into Death Valley and you beat them. Tim Tebow had a concussion, but whatever. You didn't win by 50 or whatever. You didn't win by 30 like you did the year before, and it keeps on building up and up. And by the time you guys play Arkansas, you're about halfway through the year, and you're winning, but you're not winning too pretty. So, I mean, put bluntly, what happened in that game against Arkansas?
That was my worst game as a Gator. I don't know. We made a lot of mistakes that game. That kind of resembled the Ole Miss game, but we kind of pulled that one out. But I don't know. Now they had a good day. I don't know.
But you do compare it to the Ole Miss game the year before.
Yeah, I definitely do.
That's interesting because you did win this game, and it was ugly, and there were some calls by the refs that Arkansas fans didn't really like. But what do you think it said about that team in 2009 to be able to pull out the win in the Ole Miss type of game?
Well, like I said, we haven't been there before. You know what I'm saying, pulling tough games out, but we have been in close games and stuff. And I think that the maturity level of our guys to stay composed and the experience we had out there really showed up at the end of the game.
Well, you survive that game. You keep on going. You keep on winning. You finish it off with a 37-10 beating of FSU, and I kind of asked you what you thought about the Noles the year before, but it's a little different this time because it's the last game in the swamp for Tebow, for, as it turns out, Carlos Dunlap, Aaron Hernandez, Major Wright, not to mention Riley Cooper, David Nelson, Brandon Spikes, Brandon James, a whole lot of guys who are never going to play in the Swamp again. So what did it mean to you to send those guys out victorious from the Swamp?
I mean, it was great. You know, a lot of that team was very, very, very close to each other. The 08 and 09 team was, I mean, no doubt one of the closest teams I've ever been around. Seeing those guys are great. I mean, they had a great career at Florida. And you know, it felt really well.
Well, the week after, you guys get a rematch against Alabama, but this one doesn't really go quite as well as the year before. You guys lose 32-13, and that's it for the dream. You know, there's no repeat. There's no trip to the Rose Bowl to face Texas. There's nothing. And you guys aren't going to get the national championship that everybody said that you were going to get since before the season. And just put bluntly, how tough is that?
That might be the worst loss that I've had at Florida. It was real tough, you know, knowing that we did all this all year to be undefeated and lose a game that really counts.
Well, there is a silver lining. You guys do go out and destroy Cincinnati in the Sugar Bowl. What was the pregame message before stepping onto that field?
Shit, just go play. I mean, we didn't have to have, you know, the hoopla. As much as we wanted to love to have it, the hoopla, the national championship, and I think that shows you right there that, you know, no matter what type of game it is, what stakes it is, we go out there on the field, we're gonna go play. We're gonna be the best on the field.
Do you think that there was some sort of measure of redemption out there against Cincinnati, who was 12-0, and there was talk that they should be in the national championship because they were undefeated, or was it really just another game?
Just another game. We lace up the strings and the straps, so we're going to play, no matter what type of game it is.
Well, that was nice that you guys managed to end it that way. What was the last conversation that you had with Tim Tebow as teammates?
The last conversation I've had with him?
Yeah, but as Florida Gators.
I can't even remember. I just know we always play college football together, and he's super competitive even on the video game. But yeah.
In the video game?
Yeah, we always play the video game together.
Was he any good?
Was he good? Yeah, he's pretty good.
Who was the best? Who was the best at video games on that 08-09 team?
Me and Cam Newton won at it. So probably me and Cam Newton.
Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Funny, I was about to ask you a question about him. I wanted to save it to the end, but I guess I'll ask it now. A lot of fans of the Florida Gators don't really think of Cam Newton as a Gator because he went on to have the success at Auburn. What do you think about Cam Newton? Is he a Florida Gator?
Of course. Once a Gator, always a Gator. That's my boy. That's to this day. He's super cool, man. He's playful, always smiling. How he is on TV is how he is in real life. It's exactly the same.
And that's before he ever went off to Auburn.
Yep.
Before anybody ever knew him.
Exactly.
Well, I'll admit to you, man, it is kind of hard to really love him. I respect him, of course, because he's a phenomenal football player, but it is kind of...
He would have never left Florida. He never wanted to leave Florida. Even when Tebow started ahead of him, he said he only needed 1 year. He's never going to leave Florida. He loved Florida. When I talked to him at Auburn, he said Auburn's cool, but it's nothing like Florida.
It was cool, but it's nothing like Florida. Wow. Meanwhile, as Newton's tearing it up at Auburn in 2010, things take a little bit of a downward turn for Florida in 2010. So I know it wasn't really your best memory, but in short, what happened in 2010?
We couldn't score, man. We go out there and we played nearly 2009, 2008 defense. You know, with those young guys, we just could never score points. I remember losing the game 10-7. We had to run a kickoff back. I remember, losing the game 7-3 and all kind of like dumb shit because we couldn't score.